Spoiler alert, I don't wear dad shorts, I don't wear knee-high socks, and my dick didn't fall off. I know, it's amazing. We have this crazy idea when we're younger that life ends at 40. I mean, it's hilarious to me at this point in my life, as a 41-year-old, to think that I was that stupid when I was young. But especially when you're a teenager, you seem to think that life ends at 40. And, I mean, you might as well have one foot at the grave, right? It blows my mind. I worked with teenagers for years, and they all thought that once you hit 40, you might as well just, roll over and die, that you're done. And it's all a lie, guys. And in this episode today, we're going to talk about what 40 and over really means and how amazing life can be, but it's your choice. My name is Brent, and welcome to the Fallible Man podcast. Guys, we create content to help men become the men they want to be. I'm not even going to screw around today. Let's just get into it.
Be better tomorrow because of what you do today.
Welcome back, guys. Hey, grab your cup of coffee. I love my coffee, as you know, and check out the sponsored gear. Well, I sponsor myself, so, check out our merchandise. There's links below. Grab your coffee or your energy drink or whatever it is you love to drink. And let's get into it today, right? We all had this crazy image growing up that 40 was just the end of life as we knew it. I can't believe that impression we had, but I mean, you might as well, as far as most people under the age of 30 are concerned, you might as well, you're not dead, but you got one foot in the grave. The Reaper's right around the corner. And I mean, you might as well be dead because all the good stuff is over, right? Cool is out. Life ended as far as we believed cool was and life was. And it was just done. I mean, yep. Picture this in your head, guys, because you all have this image. I know you do, right? At 40, you're wearing waist-high shorts and knee-high white socks with hideous, crappy, off-brand white tennis shoes. And that signature personal pastel, do I say that right? I don't know. I'm bad at that word. Pastel polo shirt, right? That's what a 40-year-old was. I mean, hail to the king of dorks. At 40, you were just... I mean, most of us were stupid enough. We were hoping to die before we reached that fate, because, God forbid, dying would be better than that, right? I mean, God, old people don't even have sex, right? That's what we all used to believe. And there was just no life without that, unless you're a monk, maybe, but it's amazing, this crazy idea that we got in our heads, guys. But, let's talk about how we got there, right? Where did that come from? Well, number one, we had no perspective. I am a former youth minister. If you watched my show or listened to my podcast long enough, I've mentioned that before. I don't talk a lot about it. But I'm a former youth minister. I have a friend who is a youth minister. I actually have several friends who are youth ministers still. And I've spent the majority of my life actually working with teenagers. I still do. I still work in one big youth event program. And I've kind of scaled a lot of that back because I'm raising my children with my wife right now, and that's become my priority. But I've worked for over 20 years with that age group, and I can't even claim it was them and not me. I was that young kid too, right? And I think we all were. At some point we had this idea that at 40 life ended. And it comes from lack of perspective, guys. That's all it is. None of us had any. That's just I'd love to say it was something different than that, but it's the truth. None of us had any real perspective. There's that old saying, when I was young, my father was so foolish. But when I grew up, it was amazing what the old man had learned in such a short period of time. And that's the kind of stupidity we approach things with as young people. that's the kind of absurdity there is in the whole conversation. We think that they got smart. We just finally gained some perspective. And it's natural, okay? Don't get me wrong. It's natural. Lack of experience, age, and perspective, things that only come with time on real life, left us with a very shared idea of what it was, okay? You weren't the only one who thought that silly stuff. I wasn't the only one who thought that silly stuff. We all thought these ridiculous ideas. Now, I can't say all, right? There's that exception, okay? There's the one person who had a good perspective on it because they grew up with adults and that's all they do or something, right? My brother-in-law is about to turn 25, and he gives me so much crap about being an old man at 40, or 41 now. So it's just years of experience. And honestly, 40 was one of the best years of my life, while simultaneously being one of the worst years in recent history for this nation. 2020 was a good year for me, and that was my 40 year. So, you know, it was a good year. And if you want to hear more about that, guys, I actually have some great tips on episode 1. I'll try and remember to put a card in here if you're on YouTube. If not, just go back to season 2, episode 1, guys, whether you're on the podcast or on YouTube. It's all there. 2020 was a rough year for most people, but it was one of the best years of my life, both as an individual and in my personal goals. And this year, 2021, can be a great year for you. I've got some great tips for you back on that episode of how you can make this the best year ever in your life. Now, moving on, right? We all imagined that there would be massive physical limitations, right? 40-year-olds are old. They're dead. I mean, they're 1 foot in the grave, right? We all had this idea that 40-year-olds were basically like, you know, wearing adult diapers and, you know, rolling around nursing homes. Man, were we dumb. All right? 40, the reality is physical limitations at the age of 40 are all on you. Like 100% on you. I do have some physical limitations at 40, and I can tell you are at 41, and I can tell you exactly where every single one of them came from. I mean, every ache and pain. And I wake up with a lot of aches and pains, guys. And I can tell you why. I can tell you exactly what every ache and pain comes from. I lived life to the fullest. I have no regrets over it. I had a great early part of my life, okay? From 1 to 40 was awesome. And I'm looking forward for 40 going forward. But I can tell you, my physical limitations are because of choices I made in my teens and 20s and even 30s. They are a collection of injuries occurred because I was living life to the fullest, and at times living life like I was Superman, even though I very obviously was not. Okay? Thank God I survived some of the stuff I did. God smiled on me and let me live through some of my own stupidity. But I have some injuries because of it, but it was all my doing. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm 40. I know 70-year-olds who are more spry than most 30-year-olds. Like, disturbingly so. It's amazing. Physical limitations, aches and pains in your 40s are all from younger decisions. They're not because you turned 40. They're just finally starting to catch up with you at 40. Okay? Other physical limitations are because of choices you also made in that early period of your life, right? Poor diet, lack of exercise, too much indulgences, right? They're all lifestyle choices. Weight management result in bad choices in taking care of yourself, eating well, staying healthy, result in long-term consequences, and it has an impact on how you are at 40. But they're all choices you made before 40. Now, wouldn't it be nice if you could actually have that hindsight, or, when you were 20, have some of that knowledge you've acquired? Because you would have made better choices. I would have made a lot of the same choices, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to lie. Would have made a lot of the same choices, but maybe diet-wise, I might have eaten a little better, and I might not have indulged in, quite so much alcohol at times, because I was a stupid drunk when I was 20. but I smoked for years. It was my bad choice. So it's not a huge surprise at 40 that I don't have the lung capacity that someone who didn't smoke does, right? That's not a big surprise.
Today's episode brought to you by thefallibleman.com. That's right, it's us. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com and check out our blog, updated twice a week with new content and links to all of our social media offerings. Tag or search us at The Fallible Man or at Fallible Man on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social medias for daily content. While you're there, check out our attitude swag, shirts, cups, stickers, and more. Again, that's www.thefallibleman.com.
Bam! Welcome back to the show, guys. Hey, if you're on YouTube, be sure to hit that bell notification. We have lots of videos on YouTube besides just the podcast. Thanks for sticking around, guys. And here is the truth. At 40, the world is and always was what you make of it, and so is your life. Sounds deep, right? I know it's not. But guess what? At 40 years old, you are finally, hopefully, old enough and mature enough to hear that and understand the truth. Because if you were told that at 20, I've done that. I've told teenagers that. I've told 20-year-olds that. I've told college kids that. And guess what? I get the same blank stare. Sure, old guy, whatever. It's bad, okay? You're old enough to actually get it and understand that. Life is what you make of it. It always has been, and it always will, and it's in your hands. So, let me clue you into how great 40 is. At 40, you can accomplish your fitness goals and dreams. Could you accomplish them before? Yes, if you were a person who was into health to start with. At 40, you have hopefully hit a point in your life where you have the discipline and maturity to choose to be healthy, whether you like exercising, working out, or any of that. Okay? At 40 years old, you're old enough to know you need to take care of yourself. And guess what? You absolutely can. Okay? You may have to exercise smarter, but at 40, you've gained the experience to know that you need to exercise smarter and that it's okay to ask for help from people who know how to do it if you don't. All right? Your workout routine may change. If you haven't lifted heavy for years, starting to lift heavy at 40 is going to wreck you like a freight train. I get away with lifting heavy at 40, and not every day. I have to be very smart about it, but I've been lifting heavy for a long time. So I have some built up tolerance and strength and have conditioned my body to it. So I get away with it. I have people who are older than me in the gym ask me how I still manage to lift heavy, and they tell me sob stories about how bad they hurt. I'm sure I'll be there eventually, all right? But I've conditioned myself to that, so you got to exercise smart. Maybe you can't go and hit the biggest lifts of your life, but you can go get in shape at 40 because you have the discipline and you have the know-how to ask for help when you need help and to be smart about it. It is not a lost cause. Health is not gone at 40. That said, you also know how to diet. Even if you never diet, you're smart enough to do the research and you're smart enough to actually follow the directions on how to do it. You know, most diets fail just because people don't have the willpower to see it through. Okay? You're 40. You have the self-discipline at this point and the experience and the intelligence to follow the directions and see it out. What a crazy idea. Hey guys, the dad bod is a choice and it's a bad choice. All right? I love dad bod apparel because they celebrate men who are fighting against the dad bod, who are active men, who are at a point in their life where maybe they're raising children or family and are still getting after it. I love dad bod apparel for that. Go buy my shirt, not theirs. This is a shameless plug because I like those guys. But strong bodies and good physiques are not only possible, but you have the maturity to achieve them at this point. Whereas in your earlier years, like in your low 20s, we like to achieve late night drinking and partying a whole lot more than we like to achieve that six packs. And trust me, I laugh every year because I watch the guys who are getting out of college and are starting to get into workforce, and all of a sudden maintaining that killer physique they used to have starts to slide really quickly. It's kind of funny. At 40, you are actually closer to financially stable, or better than stable, than you probably ever have been. At this point, you've picked up a collection of skills. Not like Liam Neeson skills. I have a very special collection of skills, honed over blah blah blah. And the guy on the other phone is, crapping his pants. No, not like Liam Neeson skills. Well, maybe you have those. There are guys who have those skills, right? I don't. Maybe you do. Thumbs up if that's you. Alright. You have honed some skills and experience. You're not the new guy anymore at your job, probably. In fact, you probably put in quite a few years of the same work and have become very valuable. Guess what? With that comes raises, blah, 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 better pay grades, right? You are probably closer at 40 to financially stable than you ever have been. Which means that you can support people you love. Maybe you can buy the things you've always wanted to buy. Maybe you can travel and go places because you have the income to support it. I used to laugh about only old guys had Harleys. It's because only old guys could afford Harleys. The price tag on those things is astronomical. I'm a motorcyclist. I love bikes. And the price tag on the Harleys is so expensive. And I get it now why those are the guys driving the Harleys. They're the ones who can afford it. They've been in the workforce for years. They've settled. They're stable financially. And they have the extra income to do it. Guess what? You're 40. You're a lot closer to that than the other getaway. Okay? Remember being 20? I remember being a young married at 21. I also remember a lot of nights of hot dogs and top ramen. Woo! Glad I'm past that. 40 is an awesome experience. At 40, you actually have more potential. I'm going to get some feedback in the comments from that one, I'm betting. But you have more potential at 40 than you did at 20. I guarantee it. Guys, I've worked with young people, like I said, for over 20 years. I'm also a highly experienced trainer, not only in the current industry I'm in, but in previous industries. I've always been a teacher. And at 40, you have incredible potential. More so than you probably ever actually had before. Because you have obtained skills, experience, knowledge, and resources that you didn't have when you were 20. You probably didn't even have them in your 30s. You have more potential now than you have ever had in your life. And it's amazing. You can do so many things that you couldn't do before because you have arrived at a point where you're more financially stable, where you're more experienced, where you gain knowledge, where you've gained experience, and you have more resources available because of all that. It's incredible. And guys, be sure and leave us a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think of all this. If you're over 40, shout out. Tell me what's going on. Tell me if you agree. Is over 40 better than under 40? I want to hear from you guys, and I generally try and reply to all the comments. I love hearing from you guys on all the platforms I'm on. Next, at 40, you're no longer a dreg to society. That's right, guys. I'm gonna say it. You were pretty useless in your younger years. That's just a fact. Like, so much more useless. In your younger years, the world is still kind of helping you along. In fact, a lot of people skate by on charm and their looks and all kinds of stuff these days, especially in the world of social media. But you're taking from the world, but are you actually giving back to the world? Some of you do, okay? This isn't everybody, right? There's an exception to every rule. If you follow this channel, you know I got a lot of love for the military. those people are giving back to the world they're in, and it's amazing. But there are a lot of really useless people out there who are just taking, guys. At 40, because of the resources and experience and everything you've gained, because you've gotten to a point where you're probably more financially stable, you are at a point where you can give back to the world, to your society, to your community, whether you volunteer with a school or a church or a hospital or the Boy Scouts or whatever you do, you are at a point where you can give back and be a useful, meaningful member of society that probably wasn't possible in your younger years. Because at 20, you're just trying to figure out who you are and where you're going. At 30 something, you're kind of trying to figure out how the hell you got where you are. At 40, you're more stable and you're at 40, you're more stable and able to give back to the community and to the world at large. And that's an awesome thing. And I encourage you to do it, guys. Go out and volunteer. Become active helping other people. And it is amazing the effect it has on your life personally and how you feel about the world. At 40, you finally gain some perspective. That's right. We started with you having no perspective. At 40, you have gained some perspective, guys. At 40, you've been in the world a while. And there are people in their 70s and 80s and 90s who have way more perspective than you do. But at 40, you actually finally have some experience in real life. You've paid bills, you've paid mortgages, you maybe had a family, you've seen things go up and down, you've seen COVID come, we're still waiting for it to go, but you've seen things like COVID, well, maybe nothing quite like COVID. You've seen the stock market go up and down if you pay attention to finances. You've had jobs, you've lost jobs, you've changed jobs. You've seen people that you knew when they were younger grow up. You've seen other people's kids growing up. All of my nieces on my side of the family are adults. You know how weird that is for me? All of my nieces on my side of the family are adults. You've had experiences. Maybe you've had your heart broken. Maybe you've been poor. Maybe you've struggled with addiction. Maybe you've struggled with the law. Maybe you have been through the military. Guys, you have gained experience and life lessons, and now you have perspective. The things that were big deals when you were 20 are probably not big deals anymore. The things that seemed like the world was going to end for you, you've learned you're going to survive it. You've gained perspective, which makes you valuable. Guys, life doesn't end at 40. In fact, I would venture to say life is just getting interested at 40. All that nonsense of thinking that life ended at 40 when we were younger is amazing to me now on this side of it. Okay? I haven't lost a step because I turned 40 or 41. In fact, I feel like I'm just getting warmed up. I'm just getting started. The best years are still ahead of me because, honestly, I had a lot of great years in my younger years, but I would not trade anything to go back and do those again because I am so excited about everything that is coming in my life, about where I am and where I'm going as a person, as a father, as a husband, and just as a man. I am excited about the future and where life is going from here, guys. And I hope you are too. Sound off in the comments below, guys. Thanks for hanging out today. Thanks for listening. I always appreciate it, guys. I love you guys. Be better tomorrow because of what you do today, and I'll see you next time.
This has been the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for everything man, husband, and father. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a show. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com for more content and get your own Fallible Man gear.